Long Island medium star Theresa Caputo recently underwent facial plastic surgery, but her appearance has worsened since the surgery. In this situation, Theresa Caputo has decided to sue the company. She has issued a warning to her followers so that no one goes to the company for cosmetic procedures like her. Theresa Caputo, the beloved star of Long Island Medium, had always been the face of confidence and warmth. Her fans adored her not just for her ability to connect with the departed, but also for her unmistakable energy and iconic look. But recently, things had taken an unexpected turn. It all started when Theresa, in a bid to enhance her appearance, decided to undergo a facial plastic surgery. She had done her research, consulted with a renowned clinic, and after much consideration, she felt ready for a change. The clinic promised her a rejuvenated look, one that would make her feel more confident. "I want to feel the best version of myself," she had said to her followers on social media, sharing her excitement for the upcoming procedure. Her fans eagerly awaited updates, cheering her on every step of the way. But the results weren't what she had expected. Instead of the subtle, refreshed look she envisioned, Theresa was left with a face that seemed strained, unnaturally tight, and even less recognizable. Her once glowing complexion now looked fatigued, and the charming smile that had made her famous felt stifled. Theresa knew something was terribly wrong. Weeks passed, and no amount of makeup or professional help could fix the issues caused by the surgery. Her followers started noticing the change too. They weren't just concerned about her appearance, but also about the impact it had on her confidence. The star who had once been so open and vibrant now appeared withdrawn, hesitant to share herself as she once did. Determined to take control of the situation, Theresa decided to take legal action. She sued the clinic for malpractice, claiming that they had botched the procedure and caused irreversible damage to her appearance. But that wasn't the only reason she filed the lawsuit. Theresa wanted to protect her fans from falling victim to the same mistake. She knew how influential her words were, and she wanted to prevent anyone else from trusting a company that could do so much harm. In her public statement, she issued a warning to her followers. "I wanted to be honest with you all, because you deserve to know the truth. Not all cosmetic procedures are what they seem. I trusted this company to help me, and instead, I ended up with a face that doesn't feel like my own. Please do your research. Ask the right questions. Don't rush into decisions like I did. I don't want anyone else to go through what I've experienced." Her fans rallied behind her, expressing both concern and admiration for her courage to speak out. As the lawsuit played out in court, Theresa used her platform to spread awareness about the dangers of unchecked cosmetic surgery, encouraging others to trust their instincts and take their time when making such personal decisions. However, in the quiet town of Belmore, New York, lived a woman named Clara. She had always been full of life, a beacon of joy in her community. But recently, the news from her doctors had shattered her world. Clara was diagnosed with a terminal illness, and her time was limited. The once lively woman now spent most of her days in a haze of worry and sadness, unsure of how to face the inevitable. One afternoon, as Clara lay in bed, her daughter Emily brought her the latest episode of Long Island Medium, the show featuring Theresa Caputo, a psychic medium known for connecting with the spirits of the departed. Emily thought it might bring her mother some comfort, a distraction from the harsh reality. As they watched, something miraculous happened. Clara felt a sudden wave of warmth, as though the universe itself was reaching out to her. When Theresa began speaking to a woman whose life had been full of struggle, Clara felt an inexplicable connection to the message. Theresa's words resonated deeply within her. "Even in the hardest times, when you think you're alone, the ones you love are still by your side, guiding you through the darkness." Clara, who had always been a skeptic, now found herself open to the possibility of something beyond the physical world. She found comfort in the idea that even as her body was weakening, there might be a connection between her and her late husband, who had passed away years earlier. The following week, something strange happened. Clara, feeling particularly frail and discouraged, tuned into another episode of Long Island Medium. This time, Theresa began to speak about the spirit of a man who had been a constant source of strength to a woman in her life. His messages were clear: don't give up, you're stronger than you know. There's more to this life than what the eye can see. It was as if the universe was speaking directly to Clara. The realization hit her: there was still so much love surrounding her, both from the living and the dead. She wasn't alone. The strength she needed to keep fighting was already within her, passed down from those she had loved and lost. Her husband's spirit, whether through Theresa or through her own heart, was urging her to continue her journey with courage. In the following months, Clara's outlook on life changed. She embraced each day with gratitude, her once heavy heart now lightened by the belief that she was connected to something greater. Inspired by Theresa's words, she started spending more time with her family, making cherished memories and sharing her love freely. Though Clara's illness didn't go away, she fought harder than ever. And when her time finally came, surrounded by her loved ones, she passed away with a peaceful smile, knowing she had never truly been alone. In her final moments, she felt her husband's presence, as if he were there, holding her hand, guiding her to the next chapter of her journey. Clara's story became a testament to the power of hope, love, and the belief that even in our darkest moments, there is always light guiding us forward. And in the hearts of those behind, her spirit lived on, just as Theresa Caputo had said, love never dies. However, Theresa Caputo, the renowned Long Island medium, had always been known for her unique ability to communicate with spirits. Her sessions were filled with profound revelations and emotional moments, but nothing quite as powerful as the one she experienced that fateful day. It was a chilly autumn afternoon when she received a call from a distraught man named Michael. His voice trembled as he described the loss of his younger brother, David, who had tragically passed away from a drug overdose 2 years prior. Michael had always been protective of David, feeling as though he had failed him in some way, unable to prevent the destructive path his brother had chosen. After weeks of hesitation, Michael decided to reach out to Theresa, hoping for some closure. He wasn't sure what to expect, but he knew he needed answers. Theresa agreed to meet him in her studio, a small, intimate room where she often held private sessions with clients. As Michael entered, Theresa greeted him with a warm smile, sensing the heaviness in his heart. "Let's see if we can find some peace today," she said softly, guiding him to a seat across from her. The air seemed to shift as Theresa closed her eyes, her fingers gently resting on the table. Moments passed in silence, and then, in a voice that was both calm and confident, Theresa spoke. "I have a man here. He's showing me something about addiction, and he's saying his name is David." Michael's breath caught in his throat. His heart raced. "That's him. That's my brother," he whispered, his eyes welling with tears. Theresa's voice softened. "David is here, Michael. He's telling me that he's sorry, so sorry for the pain he caused you. He knows you tried to help him, that you did everything you could, but he couldn't escape the darkness he was battling." A sob escaped Michael's lips as he leaned forward, his hands shaking. I feel like I could have done more. I should have done more," he said, his voice filled with guilt. Theresa's eyes met his, full of understanding. "David doesn't want you to carry that burden. He's telling me that the addiction was something he couldn't control. It wasn't about you or how much you loved him. He was fighting demons inside, demons that he couldn't conquer in this life." Michael shook his head, trying to process the words. But he was so young, he had so much potential. Why didn't he fight harder? Theresa paused, listening to the messages coming through from David's spirit. "He says it wasn't that he didn't want to fight. It was that he was lost in his own struggle. He was overwhelmed by the pain, by the pressure, by everything that weighed on him. But he wants you to know that he's at peace now. He's free from the chains that held him. Michael wiped away his tears, a mixture of sadness and relief flooding over him. I just want to believe that, he whispered. I want to believe he's okay. Theresa smiled gently. He's more than okay, Michael. He's sending you love, and he's showing me a vision of him in a place filled with light. It's peaceful. He's surrounded by people who love him. And he's telling me that he's proud of you for the love you gave him, for never giving up on him, even when he couldn't see it himself. The room felt warmer now, the tension in Michael's heart beginning to loosen. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to believe that his brother was at peace. Theresa continued to convey messages from David, letting Michael know that his brother was still with him, watching over him, and guiding him in ways he couldn't see. As the session came to a close, Michael stood up, his heart lighter than it had been in years. Thank you, Theresa, he said, his voice thick with emotion. I never thought I'd find peace, but today I do. I know David's okay, and so am I. Theresa gave him a kind smile. It's all about healing, Michael. Sometimes the love never leaves, it just takes on a different form. And David will always be with you in spirit. As Michael walked out of the studio, the weight that had burdened him for so long felt a little less heavy. For the first time, he could finally let go of the guilt and find solace in the knowledge that his brother was free, safe, and still connected to him in a way that no earthly separation could sever. And Theresa, as always, had bridged the gap between two worlds, helping a man find the peace he so desperately needed. However, it was a sunny afternoon in the bustling studio of the Kelly Clarkson show. The atmosphere was filled with excitement as the latest guest, Theresa Caputo, known for her extraordinary abilities as the Long Island medium, prepared for her appearance. Kelly Clarkson, the host, had always been intrigued by Theresa's gift, but she never expected the reading to take a personal turn. As the camera started rolling, Kelly greeted Theresa with her usual warmth and enthusiasm. Welcome, Theresa. We're so excited to have you here today. Theresa, with her signature blonde hair and lively personality, smiled back. Thank you, Kelly. I'm thrilled to be here. However, as the conversation flowed, something unusual began to happen. Theresa, looking intently at Kelly, suddenly grew quiet. The energy in the room shifted, and Kelly felt a chill run down her spine. Kelly, Theresa said softly, I'm getting a strong connection. There's someone here for you. Kelly's heart skipped a beat. She had always been skeptical about psychic readings, but the seriousness in Theresa's voice made her listen closely. Someone from your past, someone very close. They want to reach out to you, Theresa continued. It's a woman, someone who loved you deeply. Tears welled up in Kelly's eyes, her mind racing. Who is it? She asked, her voice trembling. Theresa closed her eyes for a moment, focusing on the energy around her. It's your grandmother, Kelly. She said she's been watching over you, especially through the difficult times. She's proud of the woman you've become. Kelly's eyes widened, the emotions flooding in. She had lost her mother years ago, and not a day went by that she didn't miss her. Oh my God, she whispered, barely able to hold back her tears. But then, Theresa turned her attention to Kelly's stylist, who had been sitting quietly off to the side, watching the interaction unfold. And there's someone here for you too, Theresa said, looking at the stylist. A man, he's smiling, standing behind you. The stylist froze, her face paling. I don't know anyone. Theresa paused. This man, he's got a gentle soul. He's saying he's sorry for not having been there for you when you needed him most. The stylist gasped, her hand covering her mouth. That sounds like my father, she whispered. Theresa nodded gently. He wants you to know that he's sorry for the way things ended between you. He's proud of you for everything you've done, and he wants you to forgive him. Tears streamed down the stylist's face as she nodded, overcome with emotion. I've been holding on to that for so long. I never thought I'd hear from him again. The atmosphere in the room grew heavy with emotion, but there was also a sense of peace. Kelly reached out, gently placing her hand on the stylist's shoulder. "We all have our journeys, but this is healing," Kelly said softly. Theresa smiled, her eyes filled with compassion. "That's the beauty of what I do. I'm just the messenger. The ones we've lost are always with us, guiding us, loving us." As the show went on, the energy in the room had shifted from mere entertainment to something deeply personal and transformative. The audience could feel it too, as if they had witnessed something special, something beyond the surface. However, Kelsey Grammer, the seasoned actor known for his iconic role as Frasier Crane, had always been skeptical about the world of psychics and mediums. Despite his fame and the many oddities he had encountered in Hollywood, the idea of communicating with the other side seemed a little too far-fetched for him. But when his wife suggested he try a reading with Theresa Caputo, the famous Long Island medium, he reluctantly agreed, thinking it could be an interesting experience, if nothing else. Theresa's office was cozy, with a peaceful ambience and faint, calming music playing in the background. Kelsey settled into a chair, trying to keep an open mind. Theresa Caputo sat across from him, her energy vibrant, her eyes twinkling with a knowing glint. Her presence alone seemed to fill the room with a sense of calm. "I understand this may be a little new to you, Kelsey," Theresa began, "but just relax and let whatever comes through, come through. You might be surprised." Kelsey nodded but couldn't shake the skepticism in his mind. He had been through a lot in life, losing family members, enduring public struggles, and facing personal battles. The thought of connecting with those who had passed seemed almost too good to be true. Theresa closed her eyes for a moment, her fingers lightly tapping on the table. Suddenly, her expression changed. Her eyes fluttered open, and she looked directly at Kelsey. "There's someone here, a man, someone you were very close to. He's stepping forward now." Kelsey's heart skipped a beat. "Who?" he asked, his voice wavering slightly, more out of curiosity than belief. The words came to Theresa effortlessly. "He's someone who was a mentor to you, a father figure. He's showing me the letter J. Does that resonate with you?" Kelsey's mind raced, trying to process the information. He had lost several people in his life, but one stood out more than the others. "John," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "John Mahoney." John Mahoney, the beloved actor who had played his father on Frasier, had passed away several years ago. Their relationship on and off screen had been one of deep respect and friendship. John had been more than just a co-star. He had been a guiding force in Kelsey's life, someone who had helped him through his own personal struggles. Theresa nodded, her eyes softening. "John is here, Kelsey. He's sending you love. He's saying he's proud of you. He's telling you, don't carry the burden of what was left unsaid." A lump formed in Kelsey's throat. The guilt of their final conversation, when he hadn't gotten the chance to fully express his gratitude and admiration for John, had haunted him for years. "John says it's okay. He knows you loved him. You were always there for each other in your own way. He wants you to let go of that guilt. It's time to forgive yourself," Theresa continued, her voice gentle yet firm. Kelsey's eyes filled with tears. It was as if a weight had been lifted off his chest, a burden he had unknowingly carried for so long. "Thank you," Kelsey whispered, his voice trembling. "Thank you for this." Theresa smiled warmly. "He's always with you, Kelsey, and when you're ready, he'll help you find peace." As the session ended, Kelsey walked out of Theresa's office, feeling a sense of closure he never expected. The experience had been life-changing, and though he remained cautious about the world of mediums, he couldn't deny the emotional connection he had felt during that session. It was a reminder that sometimes, even in the most unexpected places, healing could happen. Hello lovely viewers, welcome to my channel. I am Mina. Hope your day is so well. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe the channel. By the time the segment ended, both Kelly and her stylist were emotionally moved, grateful for the unexpected gift of healing that Theresa Caputo had brought into their lives. The reading wasn't just a moment on television. It was a reminder that love and connection never truly fade, even when the people we care about are no longer physically with us. It was an unforgettable moment, one that neither Kelly nor her stylist would ever forget.